Hey guys, so this is going to be another Q&A video. As you guys can tell, I have 7 questions that I got from you guys that I'm going to answer. So hopefully this video isn't super long. I have my handy dandy notebook, so in case you see me looking down, that's why. So question number 1 is, what nursing specialty do you want to work in? Honestly, I haven't decided. I feel like I've been looking into neurology, whether it's neuro IMCU or neuro ICU, just because I feel like, that's where I got a lot of help, especially since my MS diagnosis, and with my traumatic brain injury. I just feel like it's a way for me to give back by working in neurology. But I don't know if I will do that as an LPN, probably when I'm an RN. I feel like when I get my LPN, I might work in an urgent care center or a doctor's office for a little while and get some experience, and then look into travel nursing jobs, because a lot of places are looking for LPNs as well as RNs to do travel contracts. Most of them are nursing homes and not hospitals, so you have to be willing to work in that environment. But I've worked in the nursing home setting more than I've worked in the hospital setting, and I've worked in the medical field since 2016, so not super long, but I have more experience in long-term care than I do acute care. Question number 2, do you ever adjust to 12 or 16-hour shifts? I feel like the 16-hour shifts are worse than the 12s, but usually when I do the 16-hour shifts, it's evening shift and then night shift. I will never do day shift to evening shift or night shift to day shift. It just works out better for me to have evening shift to night shift, so then I'm working 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. and that's not as bad as if I was to do 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. I couldn't do it. I don't like those shifts. Giving people breakfast, lunch, and dinner, getting people up in the morning and putting them to bed, before I leave, it's just a lot. 12-hour shifts, it was okay. I just feel like with my health, I have to be feeling good in order to do 12-hour shifts. So, it's kind of a crapshoot in that arena. But eventually you do adjust to it, you just get used to it. I feel like the 16 hours are a little bit rougher than the 12 hours, but it all depends on how I feel. If I have enough rest, the 16 hours goes by real quick. Number 3 is, what is the scariest thing that's happened to you as a CNA? I would have to say the very first time that a resident fell when I was supposed to be taking care of them. It's always hard. You never want somebody to fall while they're in your care, but the first time it happened, I had gotten this lady up for the day. She was sitting on the edge of her bed and I was getting her dressed. I turned around to grab something out of her closet, and literally as fast as I turned around to grab something and turned back to her, she fell. So that kind of moves me into the 4th question, which is, what did you do after your first fall? I felt so horrible. I beat myself up for it for the whole week after it happened, and actually the state did a whole investigation into it, because this was after I had left that facility, but they did a whole investigation into it, and I was found not at fault, but it was so stressful. I didn't do it purposely. Like I said, her bed was here, her closet was here. I literally had her sitting up on the edge of the bed. A tray was in front of her. It's not like she was leaning forward or anything like that. I still, to this day, do not know how she fell. Obviously I didn't get suspended or anything, because like I said, the investigation that they did into it was later on. But like I said, I was cleared of any wrongdoing and any fault in that incident. But that's the one and only time I've been investigated by the state. And people told me that, when I was getting investigated, basically everybody who had left the facility around that time was getting investigated also. So I don't know what was going on with administration there or what, but yeah. Anyways, question number 5, how do you balance full-time work with nursing school? This is a tough one because right now I'm doing 2 classes, but starting next month I'm switching to the 2 classes I have now, plus adding on a 3rd one, which is just for 8 weeks. But I feel like that's going to be even more stressful because I'm stressed out now with the workload that I have now. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. Basically, when I'm at work, you guys have seen, I bring reading assignments to do. I bring homework that needs to get done. The only thing that I can't really bring with me is like exams that I need to take or experiments that I need to do for my lab class. So, that's pretty much, how I do things. I work full-time, and my course load, I guess you would say, the number of courses that I'm taking makes me a full-time student as well. So I don't know. Number 6, what's the one RCP you can't stand? And if you're not from Indiana, RCP stands for Resident Care Procedure. And the one RCP that I can't stand, it's difficult because I don't know. I think the one that I have the hardest time with, but I do it every day, is changing people when they've had like a code brown type of situation, because I end up getting all hot. The smell, TMI, but the smell when someone has diarrhea, or even the smell of C. diff stinks. Or like when I'm helping the nurse with like changing wound dressings and things like that, the smell of some of these bed sores are horrendous. And question number 7, the very last question for this Q&A video, is do you worry about patients not wanting you as their nurse because of your illness? So for those of you who don't know, I have MS, multiple sclerosis, and I don't really worry about patients not wanting me to be their nurse just because of my MS, because I don't really know how they would find out that I have MS unless I told them. I don't think that me having MS makes me any less of a healthcare professional. I don't think it makes me any worse than anyone else. There's a lot of people that work in the healthcare field who have health issues. There's also a lot of people who work in this field that have mental health issues. And, it's just something that you have to learn how to balance with your professional life. So, I don't really worry about it because I don't really think that people will know, because like I said, unless I tell them, they're not going to know. How would they know something like that, So yeah, that's the end of this Q&A video. I'm sorry it went longer than I intended it to, but keep your questions coming, and I will make another Q&A video once I have enough questions to add to the list. I'm going to stick to around 6, 7, or 8 questions for each Q&A video because I feel like I ramble a lot when I answer questions, as you guys probably know. So I don't want to go too overboard with the number of questions, and with this last question, I'm actually going to make a separate video to talk more about like my MS and my nursing career. So stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you guys again later.